Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's collective reading for the week of June 5th. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better connect with and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance. So, hi, everyone, and welcome. We're going to be taking a look at the energies for the week ahead. Now, keep in mind this is general. This is meant to just be kind of a guidebook for maybe just a theme to keep in mind, to keep us present as we are going through the week, so we can kind of keep coming back to this reading, back to this energy. Now, I'm going to be pulling two cards to begin with that are going to give us kind of the overarching theme, and then I'm going to be pulling a card for each one of the elements. So for water, which is our emotions, for air, which is our thoughts, for earth, which is our physical experience, and for fire, which is our passion and how we choose to take action. And we'll dive a little deeper into each one of those. So first, I'm going to pull a card here just to get an idea for what we can all expect for the major theme of the week ahead. Now we have Fork in the Road, number 13. This is kind of an opportune card to come out at this point because June is a universal 13 number month if you are looking at the numerology for the month. The number 13 harnesses the energy of death and transformation. It is actually the death card in the tarot, but 13 also reduces to the number 4 in numerology, which is about building new foundations, building foundations from a strong work ethic as well. Now, there's also the element of the scorpionic energy that comes with the death card in the tarot, which is why it's often associated with the number 13, which again is that death and transformation. Now, as I'm just looking at this intuitively, this Fork in the Road card, I get the feeling is there is a chance for many of us this week to really make a decision to move towards transformation and to move away from a past version of ourselves and who we've been up to this point. Now I'm going to pull another card here where we're going to get just from the general tarot, another basic theme. So let's see what wants to come out. That didn't feel right. The one thing in the Fork in the Road card that always stands out to me, and I know it's kind of hard to see here, but it looks like almost like an alpaca there's like an apple here where someone should be sitting, and then there's an owl here and a monkey. And I always get the feeling with the apple that there's almost this element of temptation, that there's something that seems kind of like the apple from Snow White, like come this way, this is what you know, this is shiny, this is, take this, instead of going with the owl, which often represents wisdom or can represent that kind of universal feeling of spirit or God, or however you choose to look at that divine wisdom, divine design to everything. And I kind of get that feeling that this is going to be that week. Maybe we might feel a little tempted towards either sticking to what we know, or we might feel tempted to go towards something that maybe is that test that says, have you actually learned that lesson? Are you ready to embrace the new version of yourself? Now we have the Page of Swords and the Nine of Swords. Very interesting because these are two cards that really link to our thoughts. They link to the Nine of Swords is the worry. This is where we just are plagued by that level of anxiety of, the negative what ifs. This is where we're overthinking something. Page of Swords is a little bit of the opposite. This is the individual who's curious, who's open-minded, who's looking to get more information about something. So I get the feeling here that this may be the week where we really take a look at where we are overthinking something, where maybe it's just time to make that change, and where can we start to break through that pattern of the worry, the anxiety, and start to just go out there with that open-mindedness of, you know what, maybe there is something new for me. Maybe there is something that is calling to me that is more in alignment with who I am becoming or who I am in this present moment. And how can we start to kind of clear the air on a mental plane? Now we are in Gemini season, which is a air sign. It's one that really speaks to communication as well because it is ruled by Mercury. And so we may all feel a little bit of that Gemini energy of going up into our mental space, of asking those questions, of really wanting to expand our view of our entire life experience and to really embrace that energy. That's the best. This is almost like the two sides of the Gemini twins. One is the overthinking and the worrier, and the other one is the expansive, curious individual who just wants to gain more information. So there's a little bit of that push-pull here this week. Okay, so now I'm going to pull an energy for our emotional side to our experience. This is going to be looking at what we would consider in the tarot our cups energy. We're going to kind of get a theme for all of us, so what we're going through emotionally for the week ahead. Now, this deck is kind of hard for me to shuffle. You'll have to forgive me. It's a very large, stiff deck. We'll have to see here. I might just have to choose one after I feel like I've shuffled enough, because they don't always just come out. Ooh. Let's see, what do we all need to know about the energy of our emotions for the week ahead? And that feels right, so I'm going to go ahead. So we have patience. Love is patient and kind always. With the number 17 breaking down to the number 8, which the number 8 is really that number of personal empowerment, leading from a place of power. It can also tie in directly to physical abundance. But I do love that it says have patience. And that could be kind of what's coming in here as well, where maybe we feel with the fork in the road that we want to move quickly towards something, or that we are feeling that need to disconnect ourselves from maybe a cycle of overthinking or something that has put us into a place where we feel like we have that anxiety, or we're in that continual place of spinning our wheels. But on an emotional sense, I do love that it says love is patient and kind always. And it's the truth. That is what love is. Love is always there. Love is that open door. Love is receiving and giving and knowing that the door swings both ways and it's always on that light hinge, if we can think about it. We can sometimes feel like love can be painful or love can be pushed on us or vice versa. But in reality, that is our mental space getting in the way of us just being able to receive love and to give love openly. It's our thoughts that come in that cause us to second guess ourselves when we just want to be open and vulnerable, or when we want to, again, maybe openly give love to someone, but we sit there and say, well, what if they don't accept it? That doesn't matter. Because ultimately, if that's something that you want to give, then by all means do so. The same is, when we think about the return, that sometimes we want so much for someone to give us love and we worry about that and we wonder how it's going to come, or are they reciprocating what we're giving out? And I just get this feeling of, for each one of us on an emotional level, that it's that remembrance or that reminder of, we may feel mentally stimulated this week, and it might feel a little like, oh, so much coming in and all this new, and I have to make a decision. And it's getting into that place on an emotional sense to just ground ourselves and say, take that breath and get into that energy of love for yourself, love for others around you, even love for the work that you do, how you communicate, and get to that place of understanding that this is just the start. This month is the start of the transformation. It is not we have to run the marathon starting today. It's that we get to we get to be curious about the new way ahead. We get to start to get excited about it, but we also get to ground ourselves on an emotional sense of not letting our thoughts run away from us, that we can just be patient and understanding that this is just the first step to the new us. Okay, or the new you. So now I'm going to pull a card here for our mental space. Really going to kind of be playing off of what's coming up here, since these are both air cards, to take a look at another theme around what we're going to be expecting in our mental realm? Where are we thinking? What are we doing with those thoughts? What are we contemplating? Okay, so we have, oh, I love it. Share your voice, come out of the cave, persecution, expression. So I always love this card when it comes out because sometimes we can feel like we don't have a voice, or we can feel like we're thinking of so many things and we don't actually stop to think about maybe we can share this with another person. Maybe someone else has a different perspective. And I really feel intuitively that this is the month, or this is the week for many of us who are looking to kind of start out on a new path, who are looking to break away from an old version of ourselves and move into the new, that this may be the time to come out either to a significant person in your life to share your experience, especially on a mental space. Like if you are going through that period of worry, or you are going through that, even that element of curiosity, this would be us developing that sense of curiosity, of us saying, maybe I just need to ask someone their opinion on what I'm thinking about, what I'm opening myself up to, because that might in turn allow you to be able to see a little bit more clearly the path ahead or the choice for yourself. Or it may just simply be that someone comes in and says, I support you in this. I see that the new version of yourself that's emerging. I see what you want to go towards. And thank you for expressing that. Thank you for not just overthinking it. There is something here about a direct, almost like an outlet. Like there's something here where all of this is going on inside our heads, and this is saying, speak it. When we think of communication, that is Mercury, right? Mercury is the sign that rules communication. And sometimes we can forget that, yes, we are all perceiving our life. We are all going through this, on a mental plane. We are all thinking thoughts. We're analyzing. We are making perceptive decisions based from what we are perceiving. But we also have to open up and communicate that as well, to share with others what we are seeing, what we are perceiving, because again, our perception might be different from another's, and it's in the sharing that we get to kind of see the bigger picture. We get to see our piece versus someone else's piece that kind of allows us to see a little bit greater than just ourselves. But it also allows for that sense of sharing, for that sense of the emotional state to be able to come in as well, because someone could just simply say, I see what you're going through. And wow, good job. Good job on your analysis. Good job on opening yourself up to something new, and I'm right here with you. And they may share something in the same way. That's how we open up that door of communication, but also of communication through the energy of love, through that patient energy. Okay. So it's time to share our thoughts this week. What are we worried about, and what are we curious about? Okay, and then we're going to have the energy of Earth. So we're looking here at, this is going to be pertaining to our physical experience, where we need to surrender ourselves and just kind of release a little bit to allow us in the physical sense to maybe not, I always like to say worry, but worry is more thoughts, but it's more about just allowing us to be more present in the physical, to make a little more of a clear decision and how we navigate our day-to-day experience throughout the week. So let's see here. What do we all need to know about our physical experience and the element of Earth for the week ahead? Okay, so we have surrender resentments. All right. So it says, holding on to resentments only poisons you. Try to forgive others for their shortcomings and keep moving forward towards positive situations in your life. Now, this is a great, I think it's interesting that we have patience, love is patient and kind, and surrender resentments, because this may be one of those weeks where, because we are looking to push into the new, we are looking to leave a part of ourself and our experience behind. This may be where we realize, as we are kind of thinking through this and opening ourselves up to maybe other perspectives or things that we even haven't seen about the past version of ourselves in relationship to where we want to go now, that we may feel like maybe someone or something has held us back in the past, that maybe all of a sudden it's like, man, I could have gone down this path a lot sooner. Or maybe you feel resentful now because you want to go down this path and you feel like someone in your life might judge you for that or hold you back from moving in this direction. And, what I love about the colors in this card specifically, so there's a lot of red and a lot of blue. When we think about, and this is how I kind of have an interesting, myself personally, I have a perception of perceiving numbers and colors. And for me, the number 6 represents the number blue, the color blue, and the number 4 represents the color red for myself. Now, 6 and 4, energy of love and hard work, coming together, love and building firm foundations out of love, but it's a whole number. 6 and 4 equals 10. And that really speaks to completion. It speaks to endings and beginnings, but also a wholeness. What's also interesting is that when we relate this directly to the color spectrum that a human being can observe or see with our physical eye, these are the two opposite ends of the spectrum. We have the blue that goes into the ultraviolet, and then we have the red that goes into the infrared. But when they come together and they overlap, they create the color magenta, which is actually a color that really only humans can see, which is really wild. It's a kind of whole color that has its own different vibrational frequency than every other color in the spectrum. Even though two colors come to overlap, it creates its own vibrational frequency, and it's very unique. For those of you who want to learn more about the color magenta, I would definitely go ahead and look that up. What's also interesting is that the name magenta comes from actually a battle during the French, I think it was during the Napoleonic Wars, that took place on June 4th, which is very interesting when I think about the number 6 and the number 4 and the colors blue and red. And so this is kind of how my mind works for those of you who are wondering how I kind of intuitively piece things together. But there's something here around that where for some of you, there may be this beautiful opportunity to take through the eyes of love, where maybe we do feel like there is this kind of, we are looking to maybe hold someone accountable or responsible for holding us back or making us choose a path prior to this that we didn't want to choose. And we can actually transmute that into seeing how that experience actually has come to push us all to this very moment. When we're looking at, the energy of this week, this is about holding ourselves accountable to the present moment. And we don't want to be sitting here resentful of others or resentful even of ourselves and our past decisions. We want to go ahead and really move into the energy of the color magenta, of looking at our experience through the lens of love, but also what we physically want to build and put our work effort towards. What foundation are we creating now through the energy of love? And how can we use that color magenta, that new frequency that is at a much higher level than either one of those two colors together? How can we allow that to really transmute the resentment into realizing that that resentment is actually what's pushing us forward now into something new? And really being able to just surrender any feelings and come back to that center of that patient love for ourselves, for what has happened in the past, and for maybe now, how that has changed us as an individual for who we are becoming. But I do love how it says, keep moving forward towards positive situations in your life. This is about moving away from all those negative situations and just keeping your eyes focused on what you're curious about, the new direction you're taking. Which way are you going in that fork in the road? Okay, so now we're going to pull a final card here for the element of fire. So we're going to be looking at what we're going to be looking at around our passions and how we take action from what we are passionate about. So we have the Page of Pentacles. I love that. This is about going out in a physical sense and really working with our passions. This is about there's a feeling of an opportunity here. Now, the Page of Pentacles, just like the Page of Swords, This is the energy of someone who is curious. They are open. There tends to be a childlike element that comes in here, where this is a person who is going to go out there and say, this is a talent I have, or this is an idea I have, or this is something in my physical experience that I have, and I'm going to go out there and just start sharing it with others. I'm going to tell people about this new version of myself that I'm pursuing. This could be like, I have a new business idea, or I'm currently looking to save to move to a new location because it's time for me to leave everything that is tied to where I've lived currently. Something along those lines, but you're going out there in a physical sense. This is someone who is going out to physically talk to people about what they're doing and to generate actions that are actually going to affect them in the tangible world. This isn't about just like getting ideas. This is like, hey, I'm going to go look this up on the internet. If I want to move, I'm going to start researching where I want to move, and I'm going to start to send emails to people. I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to give people a call, and I'm going to say, hey, what's it like living in this location? What do I need to do? What do I need to get? It's like there's an element of tying in the mental experience into the physical here through where we're choosing to take action. And remembering, though, that this is keeping in mind choosing to take action in a way that kind of lights us up. When we think about our passions, we really need to, this is about like physically applying our passion in our experience. And that could be what the fork in the road is, where maybe we have spent a lot of time taking action towards things, and we have not brought our passion into that. And this is really sharing your passion in a physical way with others. This could even be where you invite someone over to your house and you say, hey, I've been working on writing a book. I'd love for you to come over and just read a few chapters and let me know what you think. Again, sharing your passion in the physical. This could literally be, if you want to start, the fork in the road is, hey, I want to find my soulmate partnership. This would be like saying, hey, I'm going to say yes to that date, and I'm going to physically show up and go on that date with that person. Or this could be, hey, I've been working on a hobby, and I really want I really want my next phase in my life to be where I make my hobbies a part of my life. I want to take up rock climbing, and I want to make sure that I involve that into my vacations and into what I do in my spare time and the communities that I join. And this is about then looking up, maybe joining that membership, that gym that is a rock climbing gym, and you actually sign on the dotted line and you put the money down and you do it. Or you start to interact with people maybe on a social media outlet platform about joining one of these communities, and they do go and they do the meetups and that kind of thing. But there's something here about, again, taking action from a place of passion, but bringing it into the physical. So this is going to be a really interesting week for all of us, really transmuting the past, bringing us into this kind of higher frequency of that magenta color of the magic. When you think about the fact that but you bring us into that place where really only human beings can see that color magenta. And there is that beauty in being able to take the two ends of the spectrum and bring them together to create a sense of wholeness. And then there's the magic in when we finally see that wholeness, when we finally see everything come together and we're like, this is it. This is the time. This is the new me. This is the magic in the whole experience of the road leading up to this point. And now I have the chance, now that I've seen that magic, now that I've seen the beauty of that color magenta, am I going to continue to move towards that? And it's time to start to speak from that place, to share this with others, to share maybe even the beauty that you're seeing, to share the worry about leaving the old, but the excitement and the curiosity about what is coming in. Now I'm going to pull just a couple clarifiers. I'm curious. We'll just get a little deeper into a couple of these messages. I'm going to specifically pull a couple clarifiers for share their voice, because I do think that that's a really important one here to really almost kind of like drain our mental space. I feel like we're all going to get a little full this week in what we're thinking, and it might feel a little overwhelming. And this is a good way to kind of pull the plug and allow some of that to drain out, and for us to really see what is viable or not. Yeah, I think this is a great way for many of us to be able to share what feels like a heavy burden that we want to put down, so that we can feel free to go out and really, with a much lighter load, so to speak, go out and share of ourselves from a place of what we're passionate about. So yeah, this might be a week of just expressing to someone in your life, I can't keep doing it this way. How can we do it better together? Yeah, and this might mean also with this combination, 8 of Cups, 10 of Wands, what you need to walk away from, what is no longer fulfilling you on an emotional place, and how that has become, how in the wanting to move away from this, it has become a burden now that is too much to carry. This could be like saying, I just can't keep working at this job and at this level. And I would like to start to pursue a new career path that allows me to maybe work less hours, or that allows me to express myself more creatively. And in really getting to that place of openly communicating that, I think there's going to be a lot of support. It's going to take away from this like kind of mental anguish of, I want the new, but I can't let go of the old. And I think if we express it, there'll be someone who comes in who says, I can help you with this, or I'm going to support you through this. So let's go ahead and see about surrender resentments. Surrender resentments. What do we need to know about surrendering resentments? Well, if nothing comes out, we'll leave it be. Sometimes the message is the message, and it may have already been well expressed. Oh, nope. Okay, so we have Judgment, 9 of Wands, and the Ace of Wands. Yeah, there's definitely been a change. And for many of us, there's this feeling of we have changed, but it has also felt like a long journey to get to this point. And with the 9 of Wands and the Ace of Wands, that creates the 10 of Wands, but then it closes out that cycle and we start again with just the Ace, which is fresh inspiration, a fresh connection to our passion. This could be a new idea, again, a new inspiration. And I think for many of us, there may be this feeling where we have changed. We've gone through this kind of judgment period of becoming a new version of ourselves, and we maybe feel burned out from that, or we feel like we haven't been able to fully move forward towards this new fresh inspiration because of maybe someone that we feel is not accepting the new version of ourselves, or someone in the past who has not allowed us to really move into this. This could even be just, feeling resentful towards your work environment because you're exhausted at work, and yet here comes in this new inspiration and you feel the call to the new, and you're like, I'm done. I don't want to keep going in here anymore. So realize though, that again, when we go through this period of intense transformation, judgment is death and rebirth. It's sort of being called up from the dead as a new version of yourself. That there's this sense of we have to go through the period of turmoil. The caterpillar, literally, when we think about the caterpillar transforming into the butterfly, the caterpillar literally has to die. It has to allow itself to completely become something different. And it has to go through this period of literally breaking itself down. And for many of us, I feel like that's what the 9 of Wands was. It was breaking ourselves down to really allow for this new, fresh butterfly to come out. And so this is about really honoring how far you've come in the journey, what you're capable of, but honoring the new version of yourself, honoring the call now to a fresh inspiration, to fresh life. The Ace of Wands I look at as sometimes just the reconnection to our eternal flame, to our spark, to our spirit. And it may be that that's kind of when we think about being called up from the dead, it is almost like here you are fresh and cleansed and brand new. And here is the spark again to start the next cycle, to walk away from now what has become a heavy burden. Now with the Page of Pentacles, we have the 9 of Cups. What is that dream in your heart? What are you grateful for, but what are you looking to bring more of into your life? And this is really what we're looking for, right? Like, let's say you are looking to make a hobby become more prominent in your experience because you want that sense of adventure. Well, this is saying, what's that wish? What do you ultimately want to feel from that experience? And it says it's time to nurture that. Queen of Pentacles. Time to nurture that. Time to go out there and see how you can be curious about taking the first steps this week, but to really start to understand that the first steps here are going to be leading to something where you can continue to nurture and foster it. This is someone with a long-term vision and a long-term focus of being patient and kind. The Queen of Pentacles is literally the embodiment of love is patient and kind. The understanding that when we have something important, we are going to take the time to love and nurture it, and that anything worth having is worth waiting for, is worth taking the time to do it right. Bottom of the deck, there's the Page of Pentacles again. So this is kind of like the true underlying theme here, in addition to the fork in the road. Go out there and start to take action in the physical towards which road you're taking, which road you want to go down, and which road is taking you away from anything that you feel now is no longer emotionally fulfilling. Anything that you feel is a heavy burden, it's time to start to put that down and take a path that feels much less burdensome, one that really honors the new spark that's coming through here for many of us. All right, I hope that we all have a wonderful week ahead. I look forward to taking some fun steps here. I would invite anyone to make comments on here to just let us know what you are going to be taking steps towards, or the new fork in the road, the new path that you're taking. If you'd like to book a personal reading, you can click on the link in the description box below. I also have the full reading for each sign for the month of June up on my YouTube channel. So if you'd like to view those, you can go ahead and visit that, visit my channel. Sorry guys, I'm getting distracted by seeing something outside of my window. But I will leave it here. I hope you all again have a wonderful week ahead, and I look forward to reading for you next week in our next weekly illumination reading. Bye everyone.